Some thoughts about immorality. Bodily desires, immorality, and adultery are sins that have increased in these modern but last days to such an extent that we have to admit the truth of the words of Jesus when he predicted nearly 2000 years ago that the last days will be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. Not only has this sinful way of living gripped man and woman and come into the homes of religious people and institutions, the schools and hostels, but this wicked shamelessly and in a subtle way entered the hearts of people by means of cinemas, theaters, obscene literature, and in so many other ways that what God calls sin is being looked upon as modern morality. Millions of young people form their idea of an ideal life from their cinemas and novels, only to find themselves in trouble, shame, and regret. Immoral and loose-living actors and actresses become the heroes and heroines of the younger generation. The bell holes, too, are very often the breeding places to immorality. God's heroes of purity like Joseph in Genesis 39 and others are no longer taken as examples. Even the old Zulu heathen who would put an adulterer or adulteress to death could teach our so-called civilized generation a lesson and stand up against us in condemnation at the day of judgment. God tells us not to play with immorality, but to avoid it. First book of Corinthians chapter 3 verse 17 says, if anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person. For God's temple is sacred, and you together are that temple. First book of Corinthians chapter 6 verse 18 and 19 says, flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Do you not know that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own.